Welcome back to another episode of the Social Media Millionaire Podcast and settle in for a straight up coaching session with myself and Sasha. So, this episode, we're unpacking all things like scripting, creating content, TikTok. Honestly, we went a little off the rails with this one as we do, but if you don't know Sasha, if you're in any of our programs, you know Sasha, but she is the brain behind all of my content. Anything that you guys see, yes, it's my strategy, but it's Sasha's mastermind at work. And she is also the content and email marketing mentor within our programs. And our clients just love her. And she's so incredible, so funny. And I know that you guys are going to get so much out of this session with the two of us.
Why do you feel like people have such a hard time creating content for themselves?
Honestly, there's there's so many reasons. One, there are way too many other people creating content out there. Two, they have no idea what to even talk about because they don't know what they're marketing. They don't know their business. They don't know their clients. They don't know what they're struggling with. They don't know what outcomes they want to see. And essentially, they don't know how to even help them. And it's like, great, you have a course, fantastic. Program, awesome. Ebooks, good for you. That's incredible. But what are you really doing for them? And if you can't answer that, of course marketing is going to be hard. Oh my god, it's going to be a pain in the bottom. It's going to be so hard. You're going to hate it.
Yeah, you're gonna hate it. Well, people have such like a get rich quick mindset, I feel like, when it comes to content. They're like, if I don't get a million views with my first video, I'm never posting ever again. It's like, it's a skill that you have to
Yes.
learn. Like, calm down.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it also like goes into like a whole mindset thing. And I'm not like massive on mindset. But I will say, if every single video that you're posting, you're going back, watching it, stalking it, being like, why isn't this viral? Why isn't this viral? Why isn't this viral? And you're just obsessing over it, I can almost guarantee you your content is never going to perform because you are way too obsessed. You're supposed to create the concept, create the content, post it, move on with your life.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not like the end all be all. Okay. And so it's like, take that pressure off have some fun when you're
Yeah.
scrolling social media. You can tell when somebody is desperate for views, and it's so off-putting,
You can
and
smell the
so
desperation.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, stop treating it as if it's like the end of the world. Have
Yeah.
fun with your content. It's a good time. And at the end of the day, you should really enjoy what you're creating. Like, I don't know about you, but I watch back my content. I'm like, this girl is so good. This girl is so funny
I'm like,
on my
wow,
own
I'm
videos.
hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, sign me up. Sign me up. I'm going to work with myself. And I feel like you have to ask yourself that question. And if the answer is no, I'm bored, I'm snoozing my own videos, it's like, then create new videos. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's boring. If it's boring for you, trust me, the
It's
person
boring
on the
for
other end
us.
of the screen, yeah, we're bored too. We're all bored. It's a snooze fest.
Well, it's bad because we'll get, of course, people submit like when they submit their TikToks for review. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm getting paid to watch this and I can't. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. And it's never about like the concept. Like the information 9 times out of 10 is fine. It's just
Hmm.
the delivery. It's like they're
Hmm.
so one, there's either like the perfectionism thing where they're trying to film the
Hmm.
video so that it's perfect and it's just never going to be, and then you look like a robot. Or two,
Hmm.
it's like so glaringly obvious that you don't know or care about what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Because if you're like excited to it's if it's like something where you're like, I know people need this and I know people
Hmm.
need to hear this, and it's like, oh wow, I can't wait to share this information. Like the content that
Hmm.
we were just talking about like scares the crap out of me. But like I'm excited to post it because I'm like, this is something that needs to be said. But
Yeah.
I feel like most people are just like, here's my list of content ideas. I'll post it because I'm supposed to post it.
Exactly. And and there's no like desire to actually want to, you know. And I know I've told you this, and so I'm just gonna like rave on you one more time. Okay. Back in the day when I was in your membership, you
Yeah.
did this one video, because I'll be so for real. When I joined your membership, it was because I wanted to go viral on TikTok and I wanted to learn a little bit more about Pinterest, because I was one of those, you know, girlies who would go on TikTok and be like, all right, this is it. This is my week to go viral and get super cool and famous. I'm going to be an influencer. Okay. And I would post like 10 times a day. And it was so awkward. If you like scroll back through my old TikToks, you'd be like, oh gosh,
I
what is
have.
that?
I
Okay,
do.
well, don't. Okay, don't. Okay, don't. Take it back. Okay, take it back. Or I'm gonna
I
block
love
you.
it. They're so funny.
They're like, I don't even know what I was doing. Okay, there was just nothing up here. Okay, and so I would do like 10 a day for like 3 days, and then I would get like burnt out. I'd be like, I'm never doing TikTok again. I'm not going viral. Goes back to that mindset. Like, why am I so desperate? You know? And so when I joined your membership, I was like stalking your TikTok trainings, because I was like, okay, this girly has got it going on. Because I stalked you on social media for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
And you had said one thing that just like stuck out to me so hard. And it was so simple, but it was like this glaring aha moment for me, where you were like, you know, stop copying everybody on social media. Like, what are you doing? Honestly, what are you doing? Talk about something that, you know, people actually care about and something that excites you. And I know that sounds so simple, but I was like, wow, that was the like, not proof, but the permission that I needed to go on social media and post stuff that I enjoyed, rather than posting stuff that I thought people wanted to see from me. Okay?
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you talk about something that you're really passionate about, people get that. You know, people want to listen to that. People want to watch that. When you're just regurgitating information because you're like, I'm trying to meet a quota of 2 TikToks a day, like, you're just going to post garbage. And you know what happens when you post garbage? Nothing. And you know what
You
happens
get
when
garbage
nothing happens?
back.
Yeah. And then guess what? Then you're upset. And then you're frustrated. And then you're like, you know what? I'm never going to do TikTok again. You know? And it goes the same for like Instagram. It's the same thing. You have to genuinely enjoy creating that content. And it doesn't have to be hard. Think about it from that like beginner perspective. You were once a beginner, you
Yeah.
know? And so what did you need to hear when you were a beginner to be like, wow, that is so cool. Let me keep listening.
No,
That's what it comes down
exactly.
to.
Well, and like my first videos, same, god awful. And the thing is like, I even knew how to like create content because like I had a background in like Instagram and creating sales for clients. But then when I got on TikTok, it was such a totally different beast, because you have to like, it's not like Instagram where, and Instagram's changed now, but like back in the day, you could kind of post whatever. And if you had a larger following, they were eating it up. Like you were going to get views, you were going to get engagement, you were going to grow. You kind of just had to do the bare minimum and like put something up. And the thing is like with TikTok, it's not being shown to your followers. Even if you have 1 million followers, it's not really being shown to your followers. It's being shown to new people. So it's like every single video has to like catch the attention of random people who know absolutely nothing about you. And so like when I first started posting on TikTok, the first posts I made were like replicating trends that I saw and like kind of trying to put my own spin on it, but like it was still just like, I mean, you know how TikTok trend goes. I was just like replicating what other people were doing basically, and then like putting my own like information in. And then I started trying to talk on social media like about the things I knew. And if I would see a video where somebody else was like talking about something and I was like, oh, I also know about that, then I would think that I should post about that, because that's what obviously that's what people want, because that's what other people are talking about. And I did that for, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like it wasn't that long. Like it was like 2 weeks and I was like, this isn't working. And then the second that I was like, you know what, to hell with it, I'm just gonna like make a list of the things that I not even that like I find interesting, but the things that I think people should know.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally that first video that I filmed that way hit 1 million
Mm-hmm.
views.
Yeah.
Like very first video. And that was the shift. It wasn't about like the content or the strategy or like replication or trends or whatever. It was,
Mm-hmm.
I think that people should know this information.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah.
also changed, not only like was the content like unique and organic, but like it also changed the way I showed up and like delivered that video, because it didn't feel like I was reading from a script anymore. It was like, hey, like I am confident that this is something that you should know. And like that energy carried through and people were like, oh, this is interesting. And then it just
Mm-hmm.
continued to grow from there. It like exploded like overnight. And that's the thing, is
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of people, they see us talk about that and so they think like, oh, well, if I come work with them, I'm going to post one video and go viral. And like
Mm-hmm.
for some people that's absolutely true, but for a lot of people, they don't even know what it is that they think people should know. So it takes longer to
Mm-hmm.
get to that point.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it taking a while, you know.
Yeah.
Some of our like best results that we have seen weren't just an overnight success. We've had clients see results after 3 months, after 4 months, but the progress that was made during that time was so insane that once the video started taking off, they had the framework to make that a continuous process, because it's
Yeah.
one thing to create one viral video, it's another thing to have it repetitive and
And like
consistent.
understand why that video went viral so that you can do it
Right,
again.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
That's the thing. Well, and from the outside looking in, I know, and like honestly, maybe we should be better about like talking about this in our content, but like I know
Mhm,
that it looks like an overnight success because, like you said, like it could be 3-4 months and then finally they post something and it hits and it's like, oh, okay, I get it now.
mhm,
But it's like there was so much work, so many failed videos, so many back and forth conversations with us where it was like, okay, I think people need to know about this. We've done the market research. Like people definitely care about this, but how do I put my own spin on it? Like there are so many back and forth conversations, so many Google Docs that were shared and like commented on back and forth. And people don't see that. People just see like, oh, they posted this video, it went viral, and now they're making millions of dollars. And it's like, the thing is that, and I think what's different about us is
mhm.
like you said, when people have that video go viral, it wasn't an accident. They're like, okay, I know why this went viral, so now I can do it again. So then it definitely does appear like an overnight success, because once they have that one viral and they're able to replicate it, they just continue to grow and make more money. And so it's
Yeah,
like a lot of people call it, oh, what is it, the golf club effect or the hockey puck effect or club
mhm,
effect, whatever the hell. But it's like
mhm.
where you're like slowly like chipping away and then it explodes.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so funny you even say that, because I'm thinking of like one client in particular. I have been stalking her social media growth. So when she first came to us, she had zero social media presence. Not on TikTok, not on Instagram, not on Pinterest, zero. And she
She
hasn't been
didn't
on for
even have an account.
years. Yeah, no account whatsoever.
Yeah.
And had no business, no offers, just an idea.
Yep.
And so we started working together, and we went through like the whole brand clarity, offer clarity for a solid like 2-ish plus months to get super crystal clear on what it is that she did, who she was helping, how and what outcomes they could, achieve.
And like what do
And
those people care about?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And by month 3, she started posting. So she didn't start posting right away. She waited until month 3 to start posting content. Her like 20th video took off at like 200,000 views, right?
Yep.
And she like slowly was continuously growing. And I had checked her TikTok account last week. she's at 150,000 followers.
That's awesome.
And I would say the last like 9 videos that she had were all over like 50K views, every single video. And it's just like, it's so cool to see because, like you said, you don't see the back end work that needs to get done in order to really understand your viewers, your potential customers, what they need to hear. And it does take work. And if you're lazy to do that back end work and you're wanting other people to figure it out for you and you want this like quick, easy, go viral quick scheme, this just isn't it. And it's never going to be it if you want a sustainable growth and sustainable business.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and that's the thing is like everyone is so focused on, and I know I probably shouldn't say this as like somebody who teaches what we do, but like the social media stuff is like what people focus on, like the social media, the content creation. And honestly, all of that is so irrelevant. All of that is just the vehicle to delivering the necessary information to make a sale. You could walk up to somebody on the street and tell them the same thing and make a sale. Like it's not, I mean, that's why like door-to-door sales companies are effective. Like you don't have to use social media. Social media is just a vehicle that allows you to reach a lot more people faster, because the thing is like the algorithms and the posting and the content and like all of that is honestly completely irrelevant. It comes down to who am I reaching? What do I know as an expert that they need to know? And how can I deliver that in a way where they are receptive to it and understand why they need to know it too? Because it's not about just like, oh, how do I get this viral concept? Like the way you have a viral concept is by delivering information that a lot of people need in a way that when they watch the video, they're like, oh yeah, I do need that. That's what it's all about. And again, like you walk up to somebody on the street and do the same thing. It's just about understanding.
Yeah. I love content. Content's my fave. You know this. I love it.
Me too. Well, and that's why people like, that's why their content sucks so bad when they're trying to either copy other people, or two, when they're not super clear on what that thing is that they know people need to know. And so then they ramble for 45 years in their content and they're like, why didn't this go viral? Well, because you never got to the point.
Oh, the whole not getting to the point part is so aggravating. And then you finish watching the video and you were like, oh, cool. You said a bunch of nothing. That's great. For what? What was this all about? What was this for?
What was the point of this video?
So that's cool. We wasted all of our times.
Facts. It's one thing when it's like a client video and we're like reviewing it and then we're like, okay, change this. But when it's someone just like randomly on social media and they have a good enough hook that you sit there and watch the video, but then you're like, you didn't give me what you promised you were going to get. Like, what was the point? That irks me so much.
Too. It's funny because I just recently liked a video on TikTok for the sole purpose of like showing people, because it was a minute and 50 seconds long and I watched it in 2x speed because I just don't have the capacity to watch it for that long, okay? And it literally said nothing the entire video. And the comment section was filled with like, thanks for wasting my time. Well, you said a whole bunch of nothing. Is the answer in the room with us? And I have to find it and send it to you because
please.
Watching that was like so eye-opening. And I just hope everybody would see that video and just see how frustrating it is to watch a video for so long and not even get to the point. Yeah. I almost wanted to like block because Yes,
Please.
because I was like, you just wasted my time. And let's be real. Okay, none of it is not that deep. Okay, it's not that deep. But it's just like the whole purpose. Like you're getting on social with your content to talk to people, to showcase what their problems are, to showcase how you're going to solve their problems. And it's like, don't go on there rambling. Okay? If you want to ramble, do a live.
Yeah. Seriously. If you can't make up your mind about what you want to talk about, do a live. And I think that's where a lot of people like get hung up mentally is they're like, well, if I'm going to share all this information, I need to put it all into one video. No, you don't. Break it up into 100 different videos. And that's why people are like, I don't know what to post about. Yeah, because you tried to cram everything into one video and you're like, what do I talk about now?
Yeah, exactly.
Every single little piece of your video could have been its own video. Even, again, we'll cut the name out, but like yesterday messages me. She sends me a script. She's like, can you help me like apply the different lenses to this? And I'm like, absolutely. But first of all, this could have been 4 different videos. And so I like broke it down and showed her. I was like, talk about this, talk about this, talk about this. And the thing is, and she's one of those, but like anybody who like actually is an expert in their and like knows what they're talking about, they all want to do that, where they're like, how do I give as much information? And it's like, it's not a YouTube video. What's going to work on YouTube is going to be very different on TikTok. And so it's like people just need one super teeny tiny bite-sized piece of information, because again, then you look at the like the user behavior of that app. Like I read a lot, so I pride myself in having like a longer attention span. And even so, like when I'm on TikTok, I'm not going to sit there and watch a long video. You could serve me the same video on YouTube and I'll watch it. But if you give it to me on TikTok, I'm not going to, because that's not like what I'm there for. And so it's like the people that try to cram everything into one video, they're hurting themselves. They're not actually helping people by giving them that information, because they're not going to get that information because they're not going to watch the video. So it would be better to just give them a teeny tiny bit that they can like digest easier. And then they'll come to your page and they'll scroll through the videos to get the other pieces of information. It's not like you're like being dishonest or like scamming them out of information. Like you're going to give them that information, but like even if they want it, even if your viewer wants that more in-depth information, they don't want it in that same video.
Right. Exactly. And because TikTok is such a short form style platform, it's so hard to keep somebody's attention for that long. And you also have to remember, like, your audience, right? For your offers, for your business, are they on TikTok watching long form content?
No.
Probably not. So it's like, don't waste your time with that content and don't waste their time, you know? And I know you like brought up, you know, business owners who are just so good at what they do. And typically, another problem with that is the fact that because they're so good, they speak in a language that they understand, that the viewer has no idea, like, what in the world you're saying. So, like, for example, you're probably going to judge me, okay? You're going to be like, how did you not know this? Okay. So before I even joined your membership, if I would have seen a video that's like, this is how you're going to convert your content, I'd be like, convert it into what? I would have no idea what that means. But if you would have said, this is how you're going to get sales, I would have understood it. It was such a simpler language for me to understand because I was at the beginning stage. I wasn't at like an up-leveled stage where I was working with bigger business owners, right? I was new, I was getting started. And so as like a beginner, telling me this is how you're going to convert, you know, blah, 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 right over my head. You know what scroll.
Yep.
But if you say, this is how you're going to get more sales in such a simple language, that is what's going to get, you know, your people to stop scrolling. You know, let's just say, I don't know, you're like a business strategist or something, right? And you're giving like all of these massive big words, but somebody just wants to like get, you know, really pretty branding colors. Okay. Your big words, whoop, right over.
Oh yeah.
Nobody's gonna know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Your
And
time.
fitness coaches are also huge culprits of that too, because they want to talk, and like nutrition, anybody in the health / like wellness space, huge, because the information that they're sharing is arguably applicable to like most people. Like most people probably could improve their health in some way and could benefit from the information. But most people aren't watching the content because it just goes right over their head. It's not that they don't have the capacity to understand. It's simply that like they're not familiar with your industry. So like you sitting there talking about nervous system regulation, like that's great and that's valuable, but it's not, again, it's not able to be received. And that goes back to like you have to take the information that you know people need, but then make the content in a way that people can actually receive it and again go, oh yes, this is something that I need. You have to get that self-identification piece, because if you don't, then again it's just like educational content that falls on deaf ears. It's just like, here's 3 tips, like, and that's not what people need. They don't need 3 tips. They need to understand that you have something that could actually help them.
Oh my gosh, 100%. I remember the first person that I had a call with that brought up nervous system regulation, and I literally, because I was helping with content, I zoned out, and I was like, I'm sorry, can you say that one more time? Because it was like because it was such a long script too.
Yeah.
And like nervous system regulation was used like 10 times, and then other big words, and I was like, right over. Did not understand a single thing, and literally just zoned right out. I was like, please repeat it. And I go, I'm going to be so honest with you. I have no idea what you just said. It honestly sounded like you were speaking a foreign language. I have no idea what you're saying. And from like a potential client's perspective, I would have scrolled after your first sentence. And when I say that, it's not to be rude, right?
I
but
don't get it.
I don't understand. And so if I don't understand something, I'm not going to watch it.
Right.
You know, and I'm not like the dumbest person, but I feel like I'm probably not alone with not understanding what in the world you're saying. You know?
I mean, even people in like industries that and like stuff that you're familiar with, they're still like, even if you understand the jargon, it's still not the best way to hook people in and again get them to be receptive. Because when we talk about like being receptive, like this is where we do go into the higher level stuff where we talk about like the buyer types, personality types, because certain people and like the way their brains are wired, they're predisposed to care more about certain things. And so it's like when you can frame your content in a way that is going to basically communicate what you're trying to say in a way that they are going to care about, like that's the money. And honestly, like that's the biggest thing that we try to teach people is, of course, the psych and the strategy and all of that, because we want them to understand the why and like the how to repeat it. But it's not like we're doing anything to them or like making them an expert or like giving them content ideas. Like we're pulling it out of them. We're just helping them to deliver it in a way that people are going to be able to receive it.
Right. Exactly.
Ultimately. But then of course, when it comes to like being an expert and like putting information out that you know people need to hear, you're also opening yourself up to like some negativity, which people just run in the other direction.
I love hate comments. Please spam me with your hate. I love it. You know why? Because I can create so much more content based off these hate comments.
Literally, people agreeing with me and being like, wow, you're so right, this is great information. That doesn't help me at all. Like, I appreciate it. That's lovely. But like, it doesn't help me. The dissenting voices are the ones that give me, like you said, more content. They give me more context as to like, okay, here's how I can explain this better. Here's how I can explain it in a different way. Here's how I can make it applicable to other people. Like just people agreeing with me doesn't do very much. But like the people that are like, you're stupid, this is wrong, blah, 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 like those are the comments that give me like, I don't even know, like more content and like more context as to what people need to hear.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like hate comments also grow your confidence in what you teach because it makes you defend yourself. It makes you
Yeah.
defend your strategy, your framework. And I think that's a huge reason as to why people are scared of hate comments because they're not confident in what they do. Because, and I say this to our clients all the time, it's like, if you are scared to put out a video because you're scared to get hate comments, I want you to ask yourself, if somebody were to like pin you into a corner and question you about the content that you just posted, can you back yourself up? If the
Yeah.
answer is yes, post the video.
Yep.
If you can't back yourself up, if you're going to be like, yeah, you're right, I am stupid, then yeah, you probably shouldn't post the video because you have no leg to stand on and you need to.
Yeah.
And like when somebody is going to just throw these comments at you, most often, like, yeah, there's of course some that are like, you're dumb. Okay, cool, thanks. That was so not productive. But there's going to be quote unquote hate comments where they're just questioning you and your methods. That
Yep.
doesn't mean they hate you as a person. That doesn't mean that they're judging you in any way. That just means that they don't understand why you're saying that and what your thought process is. And so, fantastic. Show them your thought process. Show them why what you're saying works, why it's correct, and why this is the same exact way that they need to operate.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I think that goes to what we said in the very beginning, which is the mindset. If you are confident in what you're saying and you're like, I know this is something that people need to hear, then somebody disagreeing with you professionally, even if they're not doing it in the nicest way, that shouldn't be a deterrent. That should be an opportunity, because it's an opportunity then for you to, one, we love a good comment reply video. Like those do so well, but it's an opportunity for you to go deeper into your framework. It's an opportunity for you to, like you said, explain where you're coming from. And those videos tend to be the most activating because when you are challenged, if you can back it up, that says so much. And it's like, oh my gosh, like grow a backbone. If you have an opinion, why are you so afraid that somebody might disagree with it? Like, why is that a problem for you? Again, it's an opportunity for one to make sales, because when you are challenged and you can defend your framework or your strategy or your methods, that speaks to the right people and really calls those people into you. And the other thing is like, people, what do people say like literally every time when we're like, what's your goal besides the monetary? They're like, I want to be the go-to.
Yeah, every
every
time.
every time everyone says that. How are you going to be the go-to if you can't be enough of a leader to stand by your own opinion?
Yeah.
How are you going to be the
Absolutely.
go-to? You're not going to be the go-to by replicating what other people post. They're the go-to. You're a follower. If you want to be the go-to, you're going to have to be a leader. You're going to have to disrupt, and you are going to have to explain yourself. And honestly, I'm sure I'll get hate for this, so slay. But it's like, how egotistical do you have to be so afraid that people might question you, that you're going to run in the other direction?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, people questioning you should be a positive. It shouldn't be like, if it's a negative, like, you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe you aren't
100%.
as much of an expert as you claim to be, because if you can't defend yourself, then exactly what you said, maybe you shouldn't post it. But if you can,
Mm-hmm.
then there's no reason not to post it, because it's going to call the right people into you. And
Mm-hmm.
two, it's going to, I mean, virality aside, because everybody loves controversy, like, you're going to reach a lot of people, but it gives you an opening to unpack your process in a way that otherwise wouldn't be received. If I were to sit down and explain my framework in a TikTok, no one could care less. But if I'm replying to a comment where somebody tells me I'm wrong, and then I unpack why I think what I do, suddenly everyone's interested.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it goes back to that like bandwagon effect. But that's the thing is like if you don't know how to use that as an opportunity, you don't have the mindset of a leader, and you don't have likely the awareness or the deep enough understanding of what it is that you're creating content on to be that leader, which is fine. Go back to the drawing board, read a book, develop yourself. Like if you know that you can't back up a lot of these things, or you're not like knowledgeable enough, and people want to blame it on imposter syndrome, right? There's a difference between, we've talked about this, there's a difference between imposter syndrome and being an imposter. Like
Exactly.
everyone
And
has self-doubt.
yeah. And I feel like that's why a lot of people too are scared to post something, because of literally exactly what you just said. They're so good at copying an expert or a professional in their same field. But when it comes to backing up their claim, backing up their strategy or framework, they can't.
They're
Because
afraid they'll be exposed.
Exactly, because they don't actually have any idea.
Yep.
Go back to like sales psych.
Yep.
People are all of a sudden posting all these sales psych stuff, but there's no videos that are controversial or standing their own ground, because God forbid somebody questions them, they don't know how to actually answer it.
Yeah, they don't understand. Well, and I won't say that I was like the first person on the internet to post about buyer psychology, because that's not true. But I was one of the first people to post about buyer psychology in terms of short form content. Now, suddenly everyone and their mom is talking about that. But the thing is like, when they do get dissenting comments, they can't answer them because they don't know. And it's shocking to me. Now, this is a tangent here, but I love when people are posting content about like buyer psych, but they obviously don't understand it because they're not actually using it in their content.
Yes.
If you knew how to sell to driver buyers, your highlights wouldn't look like that. Your bio wouldn't be like that. So it's like it then it goes back to the originality. It's like if you don't know what you're talking about and you're just copying what somebody else is saying, like you are exposing yourself, because the people that you would attract that would actually want to work with somebody that's knowledgeable in that are going to look at that and be able to spot it from a mile away that you don't actually know what you're talking about. Because if you did, again, you'd be walking the walk. And it goes back to like infusing even like your personal brand into your content. Yes, humanizing a brand is important. Yes, creating those connections is important. But also, it's a huge authority builder if you can show that like you actually live your life the way that you preach. And so it's not just about building community and humanizing the brand. It's also about like context as to, I don't just sit down and film these TikToks spouting BS out of my butt. Like, this is something that I know because I implement it. This is how I've implemented it. These are the results. Or like if you're a fitness coach, like if I see a fitness, oh my gosh, the fitness coaches that like only post 2 trending sounds where they're just like lip reading, but I've never seen them in a gym ever.
Yeah, it's like what's up? What's going on over here? This is sketchy. This is weird.
It's like, you don't appear to actually work out. We've never seen you work out ever.
Yeah.
We've just seen you lip sync and copy what other people are saying on TikTok.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, I wonder why nobody's wanting to work with me. Nobody wants to sign up with me. Your course for what? Lip syncing? I could do that for free.
Yeah. Exactly.
Bizarre behavior.
Yeah. It is bizarre behavior. Well, and that's the thing is like there's very much 2 groups of people. And it's funny because we attract both just because of the nature of our content, and it's hard to weed them out. There's 2 types of people. There's the experts that have a legitimate business or a legitimate idea that just don't know how to communicate what they do through content. And then there's the people who see us talking about the results you can have with content, and think that anyone can do it. They have no actual expertise. They just think they can fake it till they make it. And again, like, it's really hard to sort those people out when you're going through like an application process, or like when somebody's like joining your program. It can be hard to tell like if this person's full of it and like has never had a client a day in their life, or if they actually like are like they know what they're talking about. They just don't know how to frame it for social media. And it's like we attract both. And it's hard
Right.
because in the online space, it's like we obviously there is such like an ethical divide, and there's so much like there is a lack of regulation in the online space. People can sell anything, make any claim, and like there's no real regulation or any way to back it up beyond just like screenshots and proof, which like is why we do that so much. But the thing is like the problem is, I guess, is I guess I'm calling myself out here, is like when you're teaching these strategies, when you're teaching the sales psychology, when you're teaching the marketing, it is so powerful and impactful that even the people who essentially are scammers and don't know anything are able to market themselves and make sales. And so it's like you've got two sides of the coin where it's like, one, we have clients that we help and they're amazing and they're super successful and they're like, they have every right to be as successful as they are because they're experts and they help people. And then there's also the clients that we help that, and like obviously we don't know this, but you know, we help them market themselves. They're super successful. They sign a ton of clients, but they don't actually have the expertise to serve those clients.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's not just us. You know, there's other, you know, people in the space, and there's like lots of avenues to learn about marketing. But that's the thing is, when you're looking at somebody's marketing, it's very hard to determine, is this somebody who is an expert, or is this somebody who just happens to be good at marketing that has no clue what they're talking about?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it's like so important to do your due diligence when you're seeing somebody in the online space that you potentially want to work with. You know, don't just like take things at face value. Really do like your research into them. Really watch what they're doing on a daily basis. Go through their stuff. Um, it's it is so important because there's a lot of just copycats out there, and honestly, it's just really sad. But at the end of the day, the thing is like these copycats, because that's all that they're doing, eventually they can't copy anymore, or they end up working with people who call them out on their garbage, and they end up, going out of business,
Yeah.
and that's just like the reality of it. You're either going to be ethical in the online space and do what you say you know how to do and keep it going, or you kind of get caught in your
Yeah.
own crap. And to be honest, that's on you, and that's completely your fault.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Well, and the thing is, well, and that's kind of what we were talking about with like personal brand, is like that's a really great way to provide context to your audience. And then also like if you're coming from the standpoint of like, I want to work with a coach, or I want to hire this personal trainer or whatever, you have to go beyond what they say in their content, because what they say in their content could be something that they took from somebody who's a legitimate expert. And so you have to also watch what they do. Are they sharing testimonials with context? Because that's another huge thing. Like, you know, this, the MRR people, they'll be in their great big like Facebook group or whatever, and they're screenshotting wins from other people that are in that course with them. They're not clients of that person.
Right.
And so if somebody is sharing a lot of screenshots but not providing any context as to where that person started, what the transformation was, what you actually did for them to produce those results, I don't buy it, because where'd you get that screenshot? It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean anything to me unless you can provide the context, unless you can say, this person started here. They came into the program. We audited. We did this. We focused on these things. We shifted these things in their content. We did this. We did that. We had this call. We had this conversation. here's what changed, and then here's the result. Because if people can't give all that context and they're just like, look at these screenshots of how great I am, I don't buy it. And it's the same thing with like, we talked about like the fitness coach, but like the relationship coach that isn't in a relationship, or like the people that sell information about, gosh, what else is there? Social media, business, but then I don't know, they're a web designer that doesn't even have a website, or they're a content marketing person that has, 1,000 followers. Not to say that you can't make money with less followers, not to say that you can't be an expert, not have a huge following. Everybody starts somewhere. But if they've been posting for a year and a half and they have 1,000 followers, but they're a content marketing expert, no, they're not.
Right.
Size does matter in some respects. And it's like, you can see if somebody is not showing through their social media the context as to how they know what they know, and then 2, how they actually implement what they preach in their day-to-day, I don't buy it. And that's the thing, is a lot of people are really sucked in by the flashy screenshots and the big results and the so-and-so said this in their video. It doesn't matter if you can't see it. If you can't see, if somebody says like, oh, I have this many people in my program, have you ever seen a time lapse of them on a Zoom call with those people?
Right.
Have you ever seen them talk about what actually is involved in this super special audit process that they do? Have you ever seen them talk about what's actually included inside of their nutrition plan that they create for people, or how they customize it to people? That's another big thing, is how these things are customized, because you and I both know people are like, this is my signature framework, and it's a copy and paste.
Right. Absolutely.
So upsetting.
It is really upsetting. Or visibility experts that don't know how to gain visibility.
Yes. The visibility experts with 12 followers.
Yeah, and 17 different TikTok accounts.
Oh dear.
That's always a good time.
Always
like, what are you doing?
I love it.
And then they're like, I don't know what to say in my content. Oh, really? That's surprising.
That's the thing, is there's a difference between not knowing how to say the information that you have and like how to frame it and how to communicate it, versus I don't know what to say. There's huge difference there.
Yeah.
It's the Wild West out there.
It is the Wild West. It's a sad little world out there, honestly. Like, it's crazy. Like, there's some people that really shouldn't be in the online space at all. Get
Absolutely.
off. Get off.
Get off.
There's nothing wrong with it, but there's like no need for you to take people's money. It's weird.
Well, and there was such a wave, and I think honestly a lot of them are starting to die off, but there's still, your scammers out there. But like, there were a lot of people that got sucked into the anyone can start a business wave in 2020, 2021. Those people aren't in business anymore.
No, they're not. And there's always waves on social media. I mean, it's pretty clear the new wave that's going on social media right now. And I just know that one's gonna die out too.
I think we should talk about it. Let's talk about the new wave.
In this video?
Yeah, let's just hit on it. I mean, we're talking about creating good content.
You're so right. Well, here's the thing. Coming from an ex-MLM girly, okay? There's this thing called MRR. Okay, we all know about it. Here's my problem with it. Okay, you are trying to market something that you, one, have seen no success with, and two, you don't know how to do. Exactly, you don't know how to do it, and you don't know why you're doing it. You're doing it because you just want to make some extra money, right? And now you're trying to market it for other people to make extra money, but you know nothing about marketing. You know nothing about the product. You know nothing about how it relates to people's lives. And so then you get really frustrated because you're not making the sales, but it's like, but you, it's not a business,
No,
okay?
it's
This
not.
isn't your own business that you're starting. You are just reselling something, okay? And that is not really solving a problem for anyone, you know? And so it's like, you want to sell these things because you want to make money, but then you don't sell it, you don't make money, but you're still trying to promote it. And it's like, why? Are you trying to promote it to somebody else who's also not going to make money? Does that feel good to you? Does that
It's
feel ethical to you?
it's so unethical. Well, and I mean, we mentioned it earlier with like the screenshots and like the social proof that people are showing to sell these things. They're not from their own clients or customers or students. Like they're just from other randos that got sucked into the course too. And
Yeah.
you know what boggles my mind about the MRR thing
Mhm.
is people are spending, honestly, I don't know how much it is to buy the MRR course. I don't really care.
There's
Let's say it's,
different levels.
oh, okay. Let's say it's
There's
$100,
like, oh no, there's one for 497.
497. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere between $100 and $500, you're shelling out this money
Mm-hmm.
to buy this course that doesn't really even teach you how to resell it. You're really just buying something that you could resell, but you don't know how to sell it or market it.
Mm-hmm.
And what absolutely boggles my mind is like the people that, one, created the course, and two, like the higher ups that continue to push it. Because what would actually be ethical and beneficial is creating a course that taught people how to make something that they actually know about and then teach them how to market it. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you could, I don't know, if you're somebody who's like really good at gardening, like you could create a digital product from knowledge that you legitimately have.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're going to buy a course, like someone could just teach you how to market and sell it. Anyway, it boggles my mind that people like are so hot on pushing this course that like doesn't even do anything for people, and they're like selling a thing that they don't even know how to do. Where like you could have taken the same amount of effort, charged the same amount to teach people how to
Mm-hmm.
make something that they actually know about and then teach them how to market it for real. Like it would take the same
Exactly.
amount of time and effort and money to create
Mm-hmm.
something ethical as it does to create something that's a scam.
Exactly. And typically they prey on people who like already don't know how to use social media, have
Yeah.
never been on social media, and they're like, well, if you just start posting on social media, and you know what's so funny? If you actually look at their captions, they're all
Mm-hmm.
the same because they're copy and paste because they're coming out of these pages. And you know how I know? Because when I was an MLM or girly, we had the same thing. We had a whole library of copy and paste pictures for
Mm-hmm.
social proof and copy and paste captions for any scenario. Same with stories. And it's just
Yeah.
like the same thing over and over and over and over, you know? And so it's like, don't waste your time.
No. No. That's the thing is like if you want to start a business or you want to create additional income online, you can either one, learn a skill. Like there are people out there, I mean, like us and a ton of other
Literally.
people that will literally teach you how to do email marketing well, how to manage admin for a business owner, how to manage social media for a business owner. You could learn a legitimate skill and have a legitimate business, or
Mm-hmm.
you likely have skills already because most people have a job of some sort, even if it's a job that they hate, right? You probably
Mm-hmm.
understand how to use a certain software that you use at your job, or you probably have a skill that you learned from your 9 to 5 that you could teach other people, or you have a hobby that you have information about that you could teach other people. Like much there's so much information that people have and like expertise that they legitimately have or could learn that
Mm-hmm.
would take the same amount of time and effort to do, that would be real and ethical rather than scamming people with something that like they don't know. And I just, it boggles my mind because wouldn't it be easier to sell something that you actually know something about?
Yeah. Because, like, just imagine how stressful it is to try and market something that you know nothing about. That would be like me trying to market regulating a nervous
Gross.
system. If I try to market how to regulate a nervous system, I would be having probably a really bad nervous system. It would not be regulated because I would be so stressed because I have no idea what I'm talking about. And guess what? I would really suck at marketing it because I know nothing about it.
Right. You don't know enough about it to know what other people need to know to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
at a certain point, and people, and myself included, we talk about market research. Market research doesn't fix a lack of expertise. Market
Mm-hmm.
research gives you the information to take what you know or what you teach, what you're an expert in, and communicate it in a way that other people will be able to be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's something I need. It doesn't fix the fact that you don't know what you're talking about. That's not what market research does.
Yeah, 100%. And so many people don't really know that difference.
No.
And that's a shame.
It is a shame. Well, and I mean, we've even removed people from our program that aren't experts. And, you know, when we've tried to go through the market research stuff with them, they are like, oh, I don't know what to type in. I don't know what to look for. And again, there's a difference between not understanding how to do market research and like not knowing where to start and not knowing anything to begin with, so you don't know where to start.
Right. Exactly. Such a massive difference there for sure. You should be able to know what you're all about, what you stand for, what's important to you, and also what's important for your not just your clients but also your audience. And if you don't know that, you need some like massive like business clarity for yourself. And that's not even like a dig at anybody,
No.
but you do, because let's be honest, if you made it this far in this podcast, right? You're obviously interested, okay? And you're obviously interested in like creating content and creating really good content. And so it's like, if you're having a really hard time figuring out what to talk about, go back to square one. What do you stand for? What's important to you? What's important to your business? What do you teach?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you help them?
You
What
froze
results
again.
do they see? What outcomes are they looking for? Find them on social media. What are they talking about? What are they questioning? What is something that is happening in their life? What are things that they're actively experiencing on a day-to-day basis that you are going to be able to help?
It's not a dig at anybody, but you have to be so crystal clear on your business if you want to create good content. That's like really moral of the story. Your clarity around who you are, what you do, how you help, you know, etc. That is going to be the difference between you creating crappy content that nobody sees, that nobody cares about, to you finally creating content that is watched, that is converting, and also content that you enjoy. Because listen, you're going to get so burnt out creating content that you can't stand. Okay.
100%.
And so it's like, start loving what you do. And, you know, I will like touch on this one last thing. If you hate your business, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't understand. Like, if you're one of those people that's listening to this, which I doubt you are, because if you are, you probably like, okay, you get it. But you should love your business and your clients. Okay. And if you're sitting there like, I hate my business, I hate my clients, pick another business, because nobody
You're not married to it.
Exactly. Yeah. And nobody deserves to, have you show up hating them, because you sold your services and you sold like you as a business owner to them. It's like, make their time enjoyable, like help them through their problems. Like, this is what you signed up for. And if you hate it, go pick something else. Don't waste your time and their time. It's rude.
Ask yourself, do you hate what you're doing because you hate what you're doing and you don't like the people you're attracting? Or are you burnt out because your systems are crap and so you're doing everything yourself? And a lot of people don't know how to differentiate, because we've had a lot of people come to us that are like overwhelmed or burnt out. And it's like, it's not that you're overwhelmed and burnt out. It's that you hate your business and you hate what you're doing. A system, and all the best systems in the world and the best business infrastructure is not going to fix a founder that doesn't like what they do.
Right. Yeah. And if you don't like what you do and you don't believe in what you do, because that's a thing, you shouldn't be teaching it.
And it's going to be near impossible for you to market it effectively and make the sales that you want to make.
100%, because you're gonna find yourself not wanting to respond to comments, being like, stop asking me questions. And it's like, you should really enjoy what you do. And again, because you're gonna start, like, when you enjoy what you do and when you talk about what you teach and that like connection piece, you're like, literally your content is gonna go from like 0 to 100 so quickly, because people can spot that passion, and people
From
can
a
also
mile away.
spot when you hate what you do.
Yep. 100%.
Cough.
Honestly, like, that's what it comes down to. If you're good at what you do and you know you can produce results, then all it's going to take is for you to understand what your audience needs to hear to be receptive to what you know they need to hear. If that is not your problem, and it's the fact that you don't know enough to market because you don't know what you're doing, or you don't enjoy your business, or you don't believe in your business, that's a whole other issue. And ultimately, and like, those people, they still come to us because they're like, well, this person will help me make sales, this person will help me market. And it's like, yeah, we can, but should we? And you, like, you know, this is something that I'm not perfect at, but you know, the past like 4 people that we've removed from the program, 90% of the issue stemmed from the fact that they were not experts and shouldn't have been selling what they were selling. And at a certain point, regardless of like personality differences or anything that comes through like that, when it comes down to it, I don't feel right about helping these people basically scam other people. Because that's the thing, is like, the marketing strategies, the psychology, like, it'll work. And so I almost, which this is gonna sound weird, but like, I almost feel like this kind of moral gatekeeper of the industry, because I feel like I have to crack down on the people that like truly don't know anything, and like, we know they don't know anything, we know that they're not experts, because it's abundantly clear once you like actually dive into creating marketing, creating content for them. And so it's like, I almost feel like it's an ethical issue to where we have to turn those people away.
Yeah.
And be like, no, like, you're not a fit, we need to remove you from the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And it's very, very clear when you don't know, especially when you ask a question. What do you do?
And
there's crickets. Exactly.
Crickets. There's such a difference between somebody that's like, well, I do so much and these are the results and this is that. And there's such an obvious difference between the people that like know what they do and who they do it for, but they don't know how to communicate it in a concise way, and the people that just don't know.
Right. Yeah. So true.
That's it for this episode. We covered a lot, and I hope you guys feel like you really just got to chill and hang out with us, because that's always what we want. So if you guys found value with this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, preferably a positive one. And of course, my DMs are always wide open. If you guys want to chat, you can find me at Kenda.Laney on Instagram. We have a Laney Media TikTok, Kenda Laney on TikTok. We have a YouTube channel that we've been posting on. I think you guys are really gonna love some of the videos that we just recently put up, and some new ones that we have to come over on YouTube. So be sure to head over there if you want more long form content. But until next time, thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode.
If you'd like to learn more about our advisory offers and how we help people just like yourself scale with organic social media that's backed by sales psychology so you don't have to run any ads, be sure to check out our links in the description below so you can binge, get inside our world, and get connected with us.